Two boys collide in a New York post office, and the universe holds its breath. Beat. What follows is a whirlwind of missed connections, do-overs, and the aching question, what if this really is fate? Introduction. Meeting the universe. Halfway New York City hums with possibility, but for Arthur Seuss, Georgia transplant, Broadway superfan, and hopeless romantic, the city feels like a personal stage set by the universe. Beat. When he locks eyes with Ben Alejo, a Puerto Rican teen fresh from a breakup and lugging a box of his ex-boyfriend's stuff, Arthur feels an electric jolt of emphasis, destiny. They banter, they blush. And then, like a scene change, the moment ends without an exchange of numbers. Beat. This nearly missed connection frames the novel's biggest motif, the tug-of-war between cosmic design and human agency. In this opening act, we learn Arthur's wide-eyed optimism colliding with Ben's guarded realism. Arthur believes the universe scripts love stories, while Ben thinks the universe is a lazy playwright at best. Their personalities set the stakes. Can two boys with such different outlooks even begin the same chapter? The introduction also threads in supporting players. Dylan, Ben's best friend, with a penchant for grand romantic gestures and coffee-induced oversharing. And Arthur's summer intern colleagues, Juliet and Namrata, who become his cheering section. Each side character reflects facets of our leads. Dylan mirrors Arthur's faith in big feelings, while Juliet and Namrata echo Ben's skepticism. Beat. Within these contrasts, the novel poses its central question. Do we wait for the universe, or rewrite the script ourselves? By the time the first loading dock of the story rolls shut, listeners are primed for a ride that is equal parts meet-cute and meditation on control. The city itself, teeming with subway rumbles and street corner singers, becomes a third character, a living pulse that keeps repeating, what if? Second chances, Broadway mix-ups, and first dates. Arthur refuses to let the moment die. Fueled by iced coffee and playbill optimism, he launches a social media search campaign worthy of a musical's show-stopping number. Flyers, Craigslist posts, and Instagram stories tagged, "What if it's Ben?" Beat. The internet's chaos ironically delivers order. Ben sees the flyer and, heart thudding, reaches out. Their reunion sparks a montage of first dates that go painfully, hilariously wrong. A visit to the Arthur favorite Café Lalo ends with spilled lattes. A trip to Times Square devolves into an uncomfortable run-in with Ben's ex Hudson. Even an escape room date turns awkward when Arthur's puzzle-solving zeal overshadows the romantic vibe. Yet amid the misfires, something genuine crystallizes. Beat. Ben, bruised by the breakup that landed his SAT study guide and hoodie in that post office box, begins lowering his guard. Arthur, anxious about returning to Georgia at summer's end, learns relationships are unscripted, no matter how many Broadway references you cram in. Their trials foreground a theme of emphasis, imperfection. Love is not a curated Instagram feed, but a blooper reel stitched into meaning. The authors, masters of contemporary YA voices, alternate perspectives, so we feel every skipped heartbeat and cringeworthy silence. The boys' willingness to schedule not one, not two, but three do-over dates underscores a core belief of the novel. The magic lies less in the universe's timing and more in people stubbornly showing up. Beat. Paralleling these dates, Dylan's whirlwind romance with barista Samantha blossoms effortlessly, mocking Ben and Arthur's struggle and forcing them to confront jealousy and self-comparison. Through comedic set pieces, karaoke catastrophes, subway platform serenades, the section underscores that seeking perfection can strangle possibility. Instead, authenticity, messy and unpredictable, becomes the secret sauce. By the curtain close on this section, listeners feel the couple's chemistry humming louder than the traffic on 42nd Street, even as doubts linger like stage fog. Identity, family, and the weight of expectations. While romance occupies center stage, the narrative deepens when spotlights swivel onto each boy's inner life. Ben wrestles with academic insecurities. Placed in summer school for Spanish, he feels overshadowed by the elite Midtown kids and the PSAT crushing Hudson. Beat. Being biracial and lower middle class, he worries Arthur's affluent background and Ivy League dreams might magnify their differences. Arthur, meanwhile, grapples with being the lone queer kid in his southern hometown, the pressure of an internship at a prestigious law firm, and parents whose marriage is showing fissures. These parallel tensions explore emphasis to identity as an evolving script rather than a fixed role. Conversations pulse with authenticity. Ben teaching Arthur the nuances of Puerto Rican slang, Arthur sharing his first Pride March reflections, both stumbling over who pays for dinner without triggering class guilt. Beat. Through these dialogues, Albertalli and Silvera dissect intersectionality with a gentle but firm hand, reminding us that every love story is also a story about culture, family, and self-worth. The parents, often mere scenery in YA, step forward here. Ben's protective mother, who fears her son's heartbreak repeating. Arthur's dad, who bottles anxiety about job security. His mum, who wonders if her legal ambitions have stretched the family thin. Their concerns add texture, illustrating how familial expectations echo in late-night texts and subway rides. Compounding the emotional stakes, Arthur's impending August departure ticks louder each day, turning the city's summer heat into a countdown clock. Beat. The boys attempt to box their fears, literally, in Ben's case, as he sorts Hudson's belongings. But cardboard can't contain longing. Themes of honesty versus avoidance crescendo. Should Ben tell Arthur about Hudson's attempts at reconciliation? Should Arthur admit he's terrified of long distance? In wrestling with these questions, they inch toward a mature love based on vulnerability rather than convenience, demonstrating that choosing each other means also choosing to confront uncomfortable truths. The grand gesture and an open-ended finale, inevitability, arrives like the last note of a show, beautiful, ringing, and slightly heartbreaking. Beat. Arthur's final week in New York collides with Ben's makeup exam and Dylan's appendicitis scare, plunging schedules into chaos. Miscommunication peaks when Arthur discovers Ben met Hudson for closure, but omitted the detail. Hurt flares, amplified by the ticking clock. A temporary split feels final. Even the skyline seems to sag. Yet true to their growth, both boys refuse to let silence narrate the ending. Ben pens a heartfelt apology letter, channeling the love of words he once dismissed in himself, and plans a scavenger hunt apology across Manhattan. Each clue revisits a shared memory. Café Lalo, the escape room, the post office, inviting Arthur to rewrite every mistake. Beat. The final clue leads to Times Square's giant screens, where Ben's message lights up. The universe brought us here, but I'm choosing you. The moment is grand, cinematic, but the conversation that follows on the steps of the TKTS booth is quiet, honest, laced with emphasis, hope. They admit neither knows if long distance will work. They're scared, imperfect, but willing to try. Rather than sealing the relationship with a fairy tale bow, the authors craft an ending that mirrors life, open-ended, shimmering with possibility. Arthur boards his train back to Georgia, wearing Ben's hoodie, a tangible reminder that stories continue off stage. Ben starts drafting a fantasy novel, inspired by Arthur's belief in him. Beat. The universe, they realize, isn't a puppeteer, but a collaborator, placing people in each other's paths, then stepping back to let choices create the final act. In this closing movement, the novel champions resilience, communication, and acceptance of uncertainty, asserting that a love story's worth isn't measured by permanence, but by the courage it sparks.